Today I want to talk about the nonviolent action of the civil rights movement. One of the first important things to note is that a lot of the players in the civil rights movement weren't necessarily committed to nonviolence. There were some, like Williams, author of Negroes with Guns, and influencer of Rosa Parks herself, who actually did nonviolence, who thought that violent arms should be taken up against their white oppressors. And there were a lot of participants in the movement who were pragmatically nonviolent. They saw it as the best strategy to implement for that particular cause, or because that's the group that kind of had the biggest momentum at the moment. But they weren't ideologically committed to, say, loving enemies and such. But at the core of the movement, of course, you did have someone like Martin Luther King Jr., who was influenced by Gandhi and very committed to nonviolence. A part of his commitment for nonviolence, like Frederick Douglass's, was that he viewed the oppressor as himself oppressed by evil. And King wanted to liberate the oppressor as much as he wanted himself to be liberated. And so his vision was that one day they could walk hand in hand with former oppressors. I think one of the biggest takeaways that is maybe a little bit more unique or able to be seen from the civil rights movement is the importance of innocence in nonviolence, or perceived innocence in nonviolence, and the way that that is able to kind of illuminate where the darkness is and show where the light is. If you think about some of the most powerful imagery from the nonviolent movement, a lot of it centers around youth. And starting with older youth, of course, you have the Freedom Riders and some of the things that happened to them and their murders. You have somebody like Emmett Till, whose brave mother has an open casket funeral to be able to see what was done to him. You have images of, or stories of like the Brown versus Board of Education, and then images of Ruby Bridges and just the vitriol on the faces of the people who come out to criticize her. And then, of course, the church bombings and the girls who were killed there, the children who were killed. Seeing adults and authorities and attack dogs and power brought out against these powerless individuals, it helped to spark the imagination of people who maybe were kind of removed from these sorts of situations, and they realized, wow, I see where true evil is, and I see the good of the cause of the civil rights movement. Of course, that didn't completely change everybody, right? If I'm a Northerner and it means getting rid of the Jim Crow South, yeah, I can see the evil in that. But as it led to further legislation and implications that might cost me something, not so much. Check out the full episode for more.